Beijing rolled out the red carpet for Donald Trump, welcoming him with a ceremony on Tiananmen Square. The two superpowers began their two-day summit, with President Xi calling for cooperation over confrontation and urging both sides to define a new era of stable relations.
I have always believed that the common interests between China and the United States outweigh our differences. The respective success of China and the United States represents an opportunity for one another. A stable China-US relationship is a boon for the world. Our two countries gain from cooperation and lose from confrontation. We should be partners rather than rivals.
In response, Donald Trump praised his host and said he was looking forward to their big discussion.
There are those that say this is maybe the biggest summit ever. They can never remember anything like it. But it's an honor to be with you. It's an honor to be your friend. And the relationship between China and the USA is going to be better than ever before.
At the top of the agenda for Xi Jinping is the topic of Taiwan. The Chinese leader warned Trump that the issue of Taiwan risks pushing their countries into conflict if mishandled, according to reports by Chinese state media. In December, Donald Trump authorized an $11 billion arms sale to the island, which has yet to be delivered. On Donald Trump's priority list is the war in Iran, with the US pushing China to use its leverage as Iran's biggest oil buyer to curb Tehran's actions in the Persian Gulf, which have also impacted China's energy sector. Trade, tech and AI are also on the table, as Donald Trump brings along 17 business executives to the talks, including Elon Musk and Jensen Huang, CEO of chip giant Nvidia. Both sides are meeting for the first time in 10 years. In 2025, they engaged in a tit-for-tat exchange over trade and diplomacy.
Well, let's talk now to Matthew-Mary Caruchet from our International Affairs Desk. Matthew-Mary, what does China want the US to actually change regarding Taiwan?
Well, more than anything, China wants the US to signal that it is open to the idea that China will eventually take over Taiwan. And indeed, Chinese media reported that this morning Xi said, and I quote, "The Taiwan question is the most important issue in China-US relations. If mishandled, the two nations could collide or even come into conflict, pushing the entire China-US relationship into a highly perilous situation." Now, Taiwan immediately hit back, saying that China is actually the only real threat to peace in the region. But for what she wants tangibly, he's looking for small alterations to wording that might make the Taiwanese doubt that the U.S. would come to their aid. U.S. policy regarding Taiwanese independence is strategically vague. It does not recognize the Communist Party's claim to the self-governing island, and it recognizes Taiwan as part of China and officially does not support its independence. China would like to change that wording from does not support to opposing its independence. And that would upend decades of U.S. policy. Now, any other U.S. president would be very careful in how he talks about Taiwan. But this is Donald Trump. He could say anything at any time, and that is leading to a lot of worries among diplomats. They're worried that he might upend the status quo by saying something random about Taiwan, or even that he would give away huge concessions, such as the aforementioned arms sales to Taiwan, in order to get better trade deals or an intervention in the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran.
So why would China, though, want to get involved in that conflict?
Well, for weeks, negotiations between the U.S. and Iran have just been caught in a quagmire. Each side gives dozens of wants and desires and then throws out the request from the other side, and the ceasefire is in a continuous state of uncertainty. And Xi has just been fine to sit back and let Trump struggle with the negotiations while U.S. gas prices rise and his approval rating tanks. But China has a vested interest in opening the Strait of Hormuz. A third of its crude imports pass through the strait, as well as 20% of the whole world's oil trade. And even though China has been able to offset the damage from the closure by turning to Russia for imports, its economy is, after all, reliant on exports. And the oil crisis risks putting much of the world, if not the entire world, into a recession. And if it's in a recession, they're going to buy less things. They buy less things. China's economy itself gets tanked. Now, one of the concessions that Iran wants is control of the strait. It wants the ability to control who passes through it, and an ability to levy tolls on any ship.
So what are the latest then international reactions to Iran's desire to continue control of the strait?
Well, much of the world, of course, is opposed to it, especially the US. And surprisingly, China seems to agree. The Trump administration announced on Tuesday that China and American officials agreed last month that no country should be able to charge tolls. Now, of course, Iran counts China as one of its major allies. It's been letting Chinese tankers through, even though it hasn't let anyone else through. And if there were tolls, China would probably or perhaps be exempt from it. But China is more worried about the precedent that it sets. If a country can impose tolls on its waterways next to it, what if Spain were to put tolls on the Straits of Gibraltar, or Indonesia to put tolls on Malacca? China, as an exporter, wants freer and freer trade, and any impediment to that is something that China is going to oppose. Now, on another note, Trump is probably also going to ask that China stop supplying targeting data and technology to the Iranians that it's been using for its missiles and for its air defenses. But the end note is that Xi has long sought to cement China's role as a leading global power. And this intervening in the US-Israeli war allows him to finally throw his diplomatic weight around.
Matthew-Mary, thanks very much. Matthew-Mary Caruchet from our International Affairs Desk there.